Helen, you better.
So the judge and Jeff
He's
said,
down in Bournemouth.
how many huntmasters are there? He said six.
None.
He said, and you answered that, so confident. Don't know who.
There's 8 of us so far. I don't know, we ain't got that far yet. We'll just say donate it or whatever. So we're all getting
It
it.
was just like,
It's a shame. I think rather than us all travelling off down to Bournemouth. I don't know when it's all right for you.
Sorry. Let's get a quick photo. Thank you. I love. Let's get. Thank you. You are love. Right, afternoon everybody. Today we're outside the Home Office building in London with animal rights protesters. It's against Camp Beagle, which is their base of protest up in Huntingdon in Cambridgeshire. There's a company, an American company called MBR Acres that breeds beagle puppies for vivisection and laboratory experiments. Yesterday they had loads of police turn up and they took out quite a load of puppies in boxes, crates, whatever, in 3 vans to take them off to various toxicology laboratories, where at 14 weeks old the puppies are subjected to various tests, being force-fed chemicals, constantly being gassed with different chemicals, filling up their lungs and everything. So you can imagine the pain and everything. And pretty useless Patel was supposed to be doing something about it, but as normal, as with the immigration business, she hasn't done jack shit. So today people are here outside the Home Office protesting for that.
I have been, but not Mel's behind you.
Yeah, Alan Turfmore. There's been, as you know, there's been demonstrations week after week after week for COVID and vaccines and against the kids and everything like that. This is a different subject that also needs to be highlighted and covered, which a lot of people don't seem to care about. But if you're an animal lover or you're passionate about saving animals' lives for experiments, vivisection, whatever, then you would fully support this as well. As you know, like some of you know, my work, I cover anything that needs covering at the time. Needless to say, you know, I am all for obviously fighting for our kids' future, as I've been on many of them demos. But today, I've decided to join these guys and put my heart and soul into this one. As I will be at their camp tomorrow also in Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire, because this sort of bullshit should have been outlawed a long time ago. It shouldn't be allowed to be happening. So what you're basically saying is it's okay, it's not okay for kids to be, or anybody like that to be given a vaccine, which obviously it's not. I'm not saying that, but it's like you're saying it's okay for animals to be tortured in the name of medicine or whatever you want to call it. It's absolute bullshit. I would rather see people experimented on than animals, that's for sure. I don't care what anyone says or what they think. I am a big animal lover. I have a dog myself, so I will put animals' rights before anything. I'm not asking anybody to stay and watch my channel. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. It's that simple. But my point is this: today I'm here for animals' rights and to try and close down this MBR Acres, this American company that's in Cambridgeshire that breeds puppies for toxology experiments. So all please like, share, give the thumbs up, show some support today. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. For those that know me, yes, I have been off the scene for a little while. As it happens, I've been busy working. Working takes more priority over weekly demos, if I'm frank, which have got a bit boring and haven't really done much of late. There you go. But life's priorities have been more important than running around the streets of London every week. But I will be back here and there as and when I can, starting with today. Yeah, Alan Turfmore, thank you very much for that, mate. Much respect. Much appreciated. You didn't have to, but all the same, thank you very much. Give a big shout out to Alan Turfmore, everybody. As you can see, everyone, there's a few Gestapo here already. They did say there was going to be a few more van loads coming down, but no doubt, you know what they're like, they're always itching to start something. Sorry, excuse me, officer.
Sorry.
Right, what you can hear on the megaphone, everybody, is the sound of all the puppies barking and yelping and crying in the puppy farm at MBR Acres in Huntingdon. It's quite traumatic to hear.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, there's need to be. This is just the MBR kennels.
Yeah.
I mean, God, can you imagine in the laboratories what they're going through as well?
This is from outside the perimeter fence.
Oops, sorry.
So that's how loud it is.
T-shirts. All these new T-shirts coming out. I got ones. I could open a shop with my T-shirts over the years.
So if you can hear that, everybody, that is the sound of the puppies yelping, etc., and barking and being distressed in MBR Acres in Huntingdon. It's a puppy farm for beagle dogs.
So that's just the MBR, where the
beagles are. God, what happens when they go to the laboratories? How they, the noise they make there, huh? The yelping, the absolute torture and torment that these animals go through. All for what? For fraudulent science. Absolutely disgusting. And we've got to do something about it today. We've got to make sure our voices are heard today here at the Home Office.
Yeah, Chrissy, thank you very much. As I said, you don't have to do that, but it's all appreciated. Thank you very much. Big shout out to Chrissy, everybody.
Heard some of noises that the beagles make at MBR. The reason we're here today is very simple. The Home Office here behind us. The Home Office are responsible for licensing MBR acres. They are responsible for licensing the laboratories where the beagles go to, and they are also responsible for licensing those people who experiment and cause those beagles to suffer horrendously. MBR acres send thousands of beagle puppies to their deaths to UK laboratories every year. And in fact, we might have to hold it for a minute. There's a demo coming by. We might have to wait for a minute. Hang on.
One of many demos.
Just typical. Yeah, there's another demonstration of some sort. Yeah, what is? I saw these. These were at Westminster. I come across what's that in Parliament Square, and I see a note there. So I gathered it was something to do with that.
Bloody demonstration. Free the beagles!
Shut down MBR! Free the MBR beagles! Shut down!
Shut down MBR! Free the MBR beagles! Shut down MBR! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles!
There's a climate change protest coming along as well, everybody. All the smellies, the lefties, everything.
Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles! Free the MBR beagles!
Dogs have been tortured and sent to laboratories. You should be coming to this side.
Free the MBR beagles!
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 Don't be talking about climate change.
Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles!
Yeah, this is a climate change protest going past, everybody.
Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles!
Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR!
Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR!
Shut down
MBR! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR!
Shut down MBR!
Shut down MBR!
Free the MBR beagles!
Free the MBR beagles!
Shut down MBR!
Shut down MBR!
Free the
like and share, everybody. Please give the thumbs up, show support. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Today we're outside the Home Office for Animals Rights against MBR, Acres, Huntingdon, and a beagle puppy breeding farm for Toxology Laboratories.
Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Shut down MBR! Down MBR! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Shut down MBR! Shut down MBR! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Police kill babies! Killers!
Oh yeah, don't I know.
Thank you. Thank you. I gotta go too. Good to see you too. I gotta go to fucking puppy killers. For nothing. Over 4,000 beagles killed for nothing a year. No, killed for for-profit corporations, just like the police. For-profit corporations.
Pretty fucking useless.
Yeah, I'm very angry. Very angry. I'm absolutely
Wasting taxpayers' money to torture puppies. Shame on you! Wasting money from the taxpayer to torture puppies. Shame on you! Enter!
Stasi Gestapo!
Nothing better to do. Taxpayers' money for it's disgusting. How can you be happy with dogs?
Stasi Gestapo police!
Hopefully everyone knows why we're here today. Let me make one thing very clear. It's probably going to make me a bit unpopular. I'm not here today to save the environment. I'm here today to save a group of dogs at MBR Acres. Whether planet Earth survives or not, do you know what? At this moment, I don't really care. The only thing I care about is those dogs at MBR. That's it. So, you know, it always amazes me how other protest groups, and I've been in this movement for 40 years, how they always look the other way when it comes to animals. Animals in laboratories, animals in farms or wherever. The environmentalists always seem to look the other way. Sure, okay, so the planet might be dying, but those animals are dying right now. Those puppies at MBR that went out yesterday are now sat in a laboratory being poisoned to death. I care more about that, I'm sorry, but that matters more. That matters more than whether the Earth lives another year or not.
Oh my God.
So you have to excuse me, my ribs hurt a bit and you all know why. But let's get back to why we're here. This place here is responsible for what happens to those dogs. It's responsible for those dogs leaving MBR Acres yesterday. And they need to feel the anger, right? Otherwise there's no point being here. I'm fucking sick to death of fighting against political establishments and authorities who look the other way when it comes to animal abuse and animal suffering. Cambridgeshire Police know full well that their involvement with MBR is an involvement which means they are complicit, absolutely complicit in those dogs suffering. And they know full well that they are going to die slowly an agonisingly painful death over 90 days without no pain relief. And for what? For a flawed science that the science community is now saying has no relevance. So how can it be justifiable for these poor dogs to go through that? And let's remember that MBR are but the latest manifestation of beagle breeding at that site. Before them it was Howland, Interfauna. So we're talking about 5 decades of beagle dogs going from that place. And up until a couple of months ago, most of the people in this country did not have a clue. Well, they do now. They do now. Thanks to Camp Beagle and Free the MBR campaigns, everybody knows about it. But you know what? All the work that the camp and the campaign is doing will amount to nothing unless you all get active. It's all well and good, people being upset and crying, and I get that. People were heartbroken yesterday. I get that. I've been heartbroken for decades. And I don't want to be heartbroken anymore. I want fucking change. And these people better start delivering it. Right? Fuck you and your platitude, Priti Patel. If you're honest about this,
Action! Not
if you're serious about ending animal experiments, then you better do something, because we've all had enough. I'm not going to be a person who's going to stand by forever watching those dogs go to their deaths. And especially in the 21st century, when the scientific community has moved on, there is no area of science that would stand around and say, oh, we've still got to keep doing this because we've always done it.
Yeah, they more likely have been testing, from what I heard, they've been testing for COVID vaccines as well. They've been testing on all sorts.
The Home Office is allowing it to happen.
A lot of toxology stuff where they're force-fed
there's no justification anymore.
various
and I don't know about any of
chemicals.
you, I've had enough.
And they've
really
got
had enough.
some kind of vacuum masks put
And
on
I
them
understand.
where they're forced
why
to breathe in
people cry
different
when they
gases.
see those dogs go. But I'm not crying
And these
anymore.
puppies
I
are
refuse
taken
to
from
cry.
14 weeks old.
I'm not going to be heartbroken and emotional.
And the reason that I heard that they chose beagles is because they are a very carefree, tame sort of dog.
If you want
More
to stop
trusting.
this, you better act.
It's
All of you.
heartbreaking.
There's no good reason, right? There were 10 people there yesterday. I don't believe there's any good reason why there can't be 100 people there every day. And do you know what? If there was, no vans would get in there. They would not get in. So I say, if you want it to stop, you have to make it stop. If you say to yourself one morning, oh, I can't
I
really...
would certainly
box up
rather,
today,
myself personally, that
then
they experiment
think
on
again,
humans than
right?
on animals.
Think again.
Everyone's got their own opinion and entitled to that.
The MBR Beagles are a symbol. What happens to them matters not just to them, but it matters to the future of all animals in laboratories.
Exactly.
If we succeed here, and we will succeed, we change history.
Did you
We
know, for
change
rescuing
the
these
way
puppies
animals
from that puppy
their
farm,
exploitation will
or
be
breaking
viewed.
in there to
I know that
take
for a
any
fact.
out,
What happens to the MBR
you could face up
Beagles
to 10
matters
years in
not
jail.
only to them, but to all laboratory
That's
animals.
more
And we've
than a
fought this
paedophile
battle
would
for
get.
a very, very long time now.
You would get more in jail
And the
for trying to
moment is
rescue
coming.
these dogs
The
than a
people in this
paedophile would
country
get.
are waking up
That says a lot.
to the issue of
about our
animals in
fucked up
laboratories
government.
because of what's happening at MBR, because of Camp Beagle and because of Free the MBR Beagles campaign. Now hopefully you all saw the Daily Mirror expose again yesterday of the dogs.
Thank you for
arriving
joining me,
at
everybody,
Hazelton,
this afternoon.
Blackpool, Hazelton, in
This is a
Harrogate.
little bit different
Those
than
dogs came
what I
from
normally
MBR.
do. As you know, I'm usually on
And
the
they
front
probably
line
went
with
there again yesterday,
the COVID
amongst
and
other
anti-vax
places.
demos, etc. But I've been out of
These
action for a while
laboratories,
because
Harrogate,
work has been more
Huntingdon,
important, etc.
Sublime,
But
the
I'm
rest
kind
of
of
them,
back on the
they
scene.
need
But
to
this
put
is
the
also,
pressure now.
animal
If
rights
you
is
live in
also
those
one of my
areas, get back
passions,
and organise
which
yourself.
since coming across
Get
these
to these
guys, I've
laboratories.
decided to get
Get to
actively
the gate.
involved in
Make
as well.
sure that these dogs
And I do
cannot
believe that
enter
this seriously
without
needs to be
everybody knowing about
highlighted,
it.
and the word needs to get out
MBR is
there
a
because
business.
not as many people are aware
It's a
of this
business.
as
It's
what
a
we'd
bloody
like to think.
business. And the
So,
business is selling
I like to hope
legal
that
dogs.
by
I read
filming
a
this
report
and
morning
being
on the
here
way
as
in.
regular as I
Now
can,
this tells you
it will get the
how
message out there and more
cynical
people
this all is.
become aware and they can build
There was
more
a
numbers
study
and help
a few years
protect and
ago.
fight against these
A
puppies
group
being sent
of,
off to their deaths.
scientists took groups of beagles from 4 different places. And the sole purpose of this was to discover how was the best way to approach a beagle to make it more malleable when it got to a laboratory. So this whole study was about how to make sure that these dogs comply once they're in a laboratory. Now think about that. And think about what MBR have admitted themselves, that those dogs at MBR are also trained before they go to a lab to present their paw, to accept a face
Yeah,
mask.
Alan Turfmore,
But also,
I've just
the
seen one of
big
your
thing about this
comments.
study was to get them to trust people.
Unfortunately, it does go on
So
in the
what they're
UK.
doing is,
I would have
staff at
thought
MBR,
myself
and
that it would have been
they're not
outlawed, or it
bullies,
should have
they're
been
innocent.
outlawed
They are training
years
those
ago,
dogs to get
but it's
used
still
to the
going on
idea
behind
that once
secret
they get to
doors,
the laboratory, they
for which
comply.
this lot
And what are they gonna
have been
comply with?
camping outside
A
this
tube
place
down
in
their throat,
Huntingdon for about 80
Or-
days now,
a needle in their
and
paw
they've
in
slowed
which
down the
the
process of
test
puppies going
substance
out, but yesterday
will enter their
3 van
bloodstream.
loads went out
This will go
to be
on
taken
day
to
in, day out,
toxicology
week
labs
in, week
all around the
out.
country.
Now imagine you slowly each day get sicker.
To not be able to be there and
Your will
do
to
something
live
is
begins to ebb
completely
away
heartbreaking,
as the
but it's
sickness
still going on,
overcomes you.
and it's truly sickening. That's
But
why
these
it needs
dogs
to
were
stop.
trained to accept
And
that
about time
by the very people
the
at
government,
MBR who
who are
drive
pretty
around
useless,
the
did
states
something
every day with
about
their
it.
face coloured. And also, if you think they care, I'll tell you something else. When we first started these protests, and we were doing it 2 years ago, those workers came out and stuck their finger up at us, or laughed at us. They don't care, they know exactly what they're doing. Do not run away with the idea that they are innocent in this. They are not. But the reason we've come here today is for this place. It's for the Home Office. It is important, politically it's important for those dogs, that these people in here understand that they are responsible. There is a chain of command here that goes from this Home Office down through the likes of MBR, the likes of LabCorp, and down to the researchers themselves, to the licences that these people give them. And I'll also remind you, if they ever tell you that these animals don't feel pain, then ask a very simple question. Why is it then that the licences you issue have a pain threshold on them? Mild, moderate, sub-threshold or severe. Now don't run away with the idea that mild means mild or moderate means moderate. Moderate is something you wouldn't want to go through, believe you me. And if you don't know that, then read some of the research papers that are available about what's done to animals under those licences. Most licences aren't issued under the moderate ban, but moderate is not something you would want done to you. Believe me, it isn't. But again, these people issue those licences for those animals and those beagles to undergo these experiments.
Yeah, Alan
They couldn't be more
Turfmore,
responsible.
as for your other
It is
comment,
important we're
are
here.
beagles
And they
used
have to
for
feel the anger from us.
fox hunting?
And I urge everyone in this
I'm not
country
100%
now, whether you're
sure,
an animal rights activist,
but I don't think
a
they
dog
are
lover,
beagles. I think
whatever
they're
you
a
are,
different
even
breed.
if you're not vegan,
I mean, I may be wrong, but I'm
even
pretty
if
sure
you're
they're
bloody
not.
environmentalists, for fuck's sake, get up off your asses and do something for these dogs. Right? Do something. These dogs are suffering now.
There was
It's
meant to
not
be
tomorrow or
a
next week,
anti-fox
it's now.
hunt demonstration
Right
tomorrow
now. And we
up
need to do
Cambridgeshire,
something about
but
it
I don't
right
think that's
now,
going ahead
right?
at the moment. I will be with these guys tomorrow at their Camp Beagle outside MBR Acres in Huntingdon, so stay tuned for that, everybody.
I got hurt last week by some hunt supporters and I've got a couple of broken ribs and I'm in quite a lot of pain, but do you know what? The pain I'm feeling right now is nothing. It's absolutely nothing compared to what those dogs go through. I'm lucky. I'm really lucky. Those dogs are not lucky. They've been betrayed by this government and they've been betrayed by
This guy
MBR.
talking,
They've been betrayed by
he's
science,
talking
the
about
science that is
recently he
in
was
the
beaten
dark
up by
ages.
several
We cannot tolerate
fox
this any
hunting
longer.
thugs,
I will not tolerate
and
any
he got
longer.
broken ribs
I
and
beg,
everything
I implore
for
all
trying
of
to
you,
demonstrate
get
and
active
protect
for
and
those dogs.
stop
We
the
have
fox
to
hunting.
stop this now.
Could you just step to the left a minute so we get a picture of that?
Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles!
Thanks, sir.
Do like the EU, they're gonna phase out animal testing and vivisection for everything, medical purposes and all this stupid nonsense. They're gonna phase it out, so do like the EU if you want to trade with them, because they won't accept your product tested on animal. They won't accept it, so you need to follow suit.
Well said.
Free the NPR Beagles! 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 Prissy Patel, shame on you! Prissy Patel, shame on you!
Prissy Patel, shame on you!
Prissy Patel, shame on you!
Prissy Patel,
Shame on you! Prissy Patel, random mob policeman! Random mob policeman went to NPR Acres yesterday to facilitate the puppies being taken out for torture. Prissy Patel, shame on you!
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 Free the NPR Beagles!
Free the NPR Beagles!
Free the Beagles!
Free the Beagles!
Free the Beagles!
Free the Beagles!
Cambridgeshire Police, ready to mob, shame on you! Cambridgeshire Police, shame on you!
Shame on you.
Cambridgeshire Police, shame on you!
Cambridgeshire Police, shame on you!
Prissy Patel, shame on you!
Prissy Patel, shame on you!
Prissy Patel, I could say rot in hell, shame on you! Prissy Patel, shame on you!
Prissy Patel, shame on you!
Free the NPR Beagles!
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 Close down NPR!
Close down NPR!
Prissy Patel, close down NPR!
Prissy Patel, close down NPR!
Prissy Patel, go to hell! Prissy Patel, close down NPR!
Prissy Patel, go to hell.
Close down NPR!
Close down NPR!
Close down NPR!
Close down NPR!
Prissy Patel, go to hell!
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 For what you have done to the NPR puppies by facilitating your random mob Cambridgeshire Police to take those puppies out to torture, Prissy Patel, go to hell! Oh, shame! Shame on you!
Shame on you!
NPR, 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 shame on you!
Free the NPR Beagles!
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 Close down NPR!
Close down NPR!
Close down NPR!
Close down NPR!
NPR, shame on you!
NPR, shame on you!
NPR, shame on you!
NPR, shame on you!
Prissy Patel, 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 go to hell!
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 Free the NPR Beagles!
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 Prissy Patel, shame on you!
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 Prissy Patel,
Smile, smile. That's it. 1, 2, 3.
Priti Patel, go to hell! Priti Patel, go to hell! Priti Patel, shame on you! Priti Patel, shame on you! Priti Patel, shame on you! Free the NPR Eagles! Free the NPR Eagles! Free the NPR Eagles! Free the NPR Eagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Shame on you! Cambridgeshire Police! Shame on you! 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 Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Close down NPR! 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 Free the NPR Beagles! Priti Patel, go to hell! 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 Free the NPR Beagles! 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 Free the 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 Beagles! Priti Patel, shame on you! 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 Shame on you for what you do! 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 With a stroke of your pen, you can stop all these regulated conditions which exist that animals are tested on. Priti Patel, shame on you! Priti Patel, shame on you!
Sorry, love, but just want to get a little angle in. Thank you.
Priti Patel, go to hell! 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 Hell is where those little puppies are right now, and have been for the last 50 years. So you join them. Priti Patel, go to hell! Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the 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 NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles!
Yeah, so please like, share, everybody. Please give the thumbs up, show some support today. Action against the Huntingdon NBR lab, or puppy breeding farm, should I say.
Cambridgeshire Police, shame on you!
Shame on you! Cambridgeshire Police, shame on you! Shame on you! Cambridgeshire Police, shame on you!
Cambridgeshire Police, shame on you!
Cambridgeshire Police, shame on you!
Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Prison Patel, shame on you! Prison Patel, shame on you! Prison Patel, shame on you!
Yeah, Scarlett, I'm not sure if there's any protests in London on Sunday. I'm not interested in the climate change shit, but I will be up Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire tomorrow at Camp Beagle outside NBR Acres, the puppy farm. So I'll be up there showing support as well.
Shame! You sick bastards!
Shut down vivisection!
Shut
Vivisection! Shut down NPR!
Shut down NBR!
Have you been involved with this lot long?
Yeah.
So I'm just filming on the
that's
YouTube
cool.
channel and that. I'm pretty new with this one, but I've always been for animal rights, but I've always wanted to be protesting on the front line against the
Yeah, I've been to some of those.
So I'm a bit of a veteran of demos, but this is the first with this lot. But I've come across these on, I think it was TikTok and on somewhere on Facebook. And I've been in touch with a few lads and like messaging them to try and get details, because obviously I was interested in the fox hunt thing. No, but they said, because I said tomorrow I plan on coming up to the camp, right, you know?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I'll be about up there. So I want to get to know everybody and everybody to get to know me and trust me, you know what I mean? Because they were saying, well, yeah, they said that there's very few that are actually filming live, getting the footage out.
We don't really have that. That's more of a thing, isn't it?
And I've got a fair following, So obviously that way it will get out a lot more, you know.
Resistance, QB, David Curtin's son.
Do you know what? Right, I do know of him on YouTube. Yeah. I'm not sure if I think I was subbed to him actually at one point.
I'm mates with him.
Oh right, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I've met David Curtin several times. I shook his hand and all that as well because we was trying to get him to run for mayor. He was running for mayor, but you know. Yeah, I've spoken to David Curtin several times on like Hyde Park Speaker's Corner. I've been up there. Yeah, I've mostly like been following every sort of calls going, you know. I've not really ever got involved in that climate change stuff or any of that. But yeah, I aim to get the message out there with all this as well, you know. And I saw that they had a bit of drone footage from up there, you know. And like I just said to Mal and that and a few others, I said like, I've got a drone myself, so I'll plan on bringing it tomorrow, just fly it over, sweep, get some good aerial footage and all that. Sorry? Is that
to the camp?
At the camp, yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice.
I know other YouTubers, like one of the other main ones that comes around up London a lot, Subject Access. Subject Access, Sam, his name is. He knows me pretty well as well. Chris Tyrant Finder, he's a guy that he's from Bristol. There's a few of them. Independent Free Press. We're all sort of where we're all been out and about quite regular. Whereas you know, you get to know us all. We've been our own sort of like little community within the YouTube world. But I've not been active for about 5 weeks because I've been working mostly. So, you know, whereas before I was taking time off work a couple of times a week, and these protests were getting like every week, and it was getting a bit much.
They do go on, I'm just going to sneak off the
No worries. Are you up there tomorrow? Are you up there tomorrow?
Camp.
Are you local? Sure. I came from South East London.
I'm actually from, I go to uni in Bournemouth. So quite a while away, but I grew up around here, so I know.
Alright, no worries. Anyway, my name's Nick. Ollie,
yeah, sorry. I only wear it for identity.
No, I know, yeah.
Proud of what you're doing, because this is not
nice one anyway.
Britain or anywhere in the world should be doing to dogs. You agree? And the other thing about the testing industry is that it is so fundamentally corrupt, so fundamentally ineffective. 90% of animal tests, this is the Food and Drug Administration that will tell you this, don't work. Because we can't replicate a test on a dog or a cat or any other animal and actually apply it to human beings. We see that all the time when it comes to medicinal trials. Now remember that 90% of the dogs, particularly weasels we're talking about in this country, are used for medical research for humans. Around 10% are used for veterinary research or for chemical toxicology testing for pesticides and household chemicals. But the vast majority are for medical research purposes that fail every single time, cost hundreds of millions of pounds, and are helping absolutely no one. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. And we saw those horrible scenes in the latest report from the Daily Mirror, and thank you again to your campaign for getting these stories out there, with companies effectively just dumping dogs in bags into bins. This is the reality of this disgusting industry. But the fact is that Priti Patel knows that the regulatory system she's overseeing here in the Home Office is not fit for purpose. It's over 75 years old. It does nothing to protect human health. All it does is it's a conveyor belt of misery for animals. Wouldn't you agree? Yes! The Animal Scientific Procedures Act gives a free license to animal cruelty. Under the Animal Welfare Act, you'd be prosecuted.
Yeah, can anybody that's still watching just give me an idea what my footage is like, please? If it's clear or if it's a bit pixelated or what, thank you.
It's ineffective and it's hugely cruel. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. And that's why EDM, Early Day Motion 175, that Peter Regan and Ricky Gervais and so many people in this particular campaign are supporting is terribly important. What we're saying is we need a whole-scale review, an independent scientific review of animal testing. Because if we have a proper independent review,
yeah, okay, thank you.
That there is no place in the modern civilized world
for doing what we're doing to dogs, to primates, or any animals. Wouldn't you agree? And if we learn anything from COVID, and I know the AstraZeneca vaccine did involve some primates in universities in the United States, but we also know that we got these COVID vaccines into human arms so quickly because we jumped a whole load of regulations for emergency purposes that would have taken 5-6 years of animal trials with huge suffering. So millions of people will be better off for having vaccines, but millions of animals will also not have suffered as a consequence. And that's important in any animal research, because the idea that you can bring drugs to market by killing animals in large numbers to tick those regulatory boxes is not something that has to happen. It doesn't need to happen, and there's no moral case for making it happen. Wouldn't you agree? Yes! And I know some of us might differ about vaccines for COVID. That's not the issue here. What I'm saying to you is this, that when you are bringing drugs to trial, you'll get medicinal experts, you'll get pharmaceutical companies, veterinary experts, and vested interests always stepping up into the media and into politicians to say you've got to do this, there's no alternative. These animals must suffer, it's terrible, but we have to do it. That is complete and utter manure, wouldn't you agree? Yes! And we need to call it out for what it is. And I say there's no country in the world that's got this right. But there's been lots of promises made by Labour governments, Tory governments, coalition governments over the decades in this country to sort out animal testing. And I'm afraid none of them have done anything that will bring this misery to end. Wouldn't you agree? Yes! And what you're doing now is bringing this back to people's attention. It's not acceptable that MPs fall over themselves in the House of Commons to enact new legislation to protect dogs about not being euthanised without microchip checks being made, which is what we've been doing with Tuck's Law, or trying to improve the issues around pet awareness on theft, and trying to make sure that criminal sanctions against people that treat dogs badly are made to such a degree that people can go to prison for 5 years. I agree with all of that. But it's complete hypocrisy to do so much to protect dogs on that side, and then to turn a blind eye to this vicious chemical testing that's going on the other side. Wouldn't you agree? Yes! And that's what we've got to say to people. If you stop killing dogs in animal tests, if you stop killing primates in animal tests, if we stop all animal testing, no one is going to suffer as a consequence. In fact, people will probably hugely benefit as a consequence. Yes! Because all the money that's wasted on this research can be put into better human-based studies or non-animal-based studies. Yes. It's crazy to me that Queen Victoria is an anti-vivisectionist, and she'd be standing by us now, and 150 years later, we're still shouting to stop this madness. That should never be happening. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. So that's why what you're doing in Huntingdon, day in, day out, despite the fact that the police are spending hundreds of thousands of pounds defending an American company that makes vast profits from these animals that are treated so cruelly, is so fundamentally right. Because you are the moral voice. Now, there might be many people that work in those facilities that have little options but to work there. But what you're doing quietly and determinedly is making them think every day they go to work about what it is they're doing and why they're doing it. And I hope what will happen in time, and I'm sure it's already beginning to happen, is that more and more people will say, I don't want anything to do with this horrible industry anymore. I'll go and earn a living doing something else. If I'm a laboratory technician, if I'm a scientist, if I'm a vet, I don't want anything to do with this horror story anymore. Wouldn't you agree? Yes! Because it's disgusting that we spent 2 weeks with the Prime Minister, the Home Secretary, the Foreign Secretary falling over themselves to help Penfarthing, his dogs and his people get out of Kabul, when at the same time we're putting dogs into medical tests and dumping them into bins. That is completely wrong.
Hypocrisy!
It is hypocrisy. All dogs matter. All animals matter. All cruelty matters. Not because it's justified because it helps humans. It's wrong. It's profit-driven. There's lots of vested interests, I'm afraid, in the pharmaceutical industries, in the regulatory industries, and even in the veterinary industry that keeps this madness going. And what you must do, and all of us must do, is keep calling them out and holding them to account and saying you can no longer continue to do this. We know what you're involved with. There's no moral platform for you to stand on to say you're helping people. All you're doing is causing immense suffering for no benefit.
No scientific value.
And the science of all this matters, because they will say science always is on their side. No. The weight of scientific evidence is on your side, is on the anti-vivisection side, is on the animal protection side, is on the decent, caring, compassionate people side. Wouldn't you agree? Yes! So you keep coming back here, At some point, Priti Patel's going to have to let us in and she's going to have to talk to us. At some point, MPs are going to have to look in the mirror and say we can't be good to dogs in so many other ways and we allow this madness to go on. At some point, the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons up the road and everyone in the veterinary industry will have to have a proper debate about the ethics of this type of testing. But it's up to you to keep the pressure on. It's up to you to make sure you don't let them off the hook. It's up to you to make sure the media is aware of this, the public is aware of this. Because silence is not an option anymore. The suffering otherwise will go on and it will get worse. Never ever underestimate the ignorance, stupidity and greed of mankind to go on exploiting animals. Because if you don't speak up, the suffering will get worse. So thank you so much for coming here. It's an honour to be alongside you. Thank you for what you're doing in Huntingdon. You are the moral majority in this country. There'd be millions of people here with you, they could be, but you're doing exactly the right thing. You put the great in Britain. We are a caring, compassionate society. We'll never give up fighting for animals, and we will win this battle. Thank you very much.
Love you, George! We love you, George! We love you, George! We love you, George! Oh, Dominic!
Hopefully those words resonate with everyone. I will give you a very quick update about the piece that appeared on Mirror Online yesterday. I can tell you that already LabCorp are threatening the Mirror with legal action. If you want to know how utterly and deeply concerned they are about that, that tells you everything. They've immediately gone to their lawyers, who have straight away threatened the Daily Mirror. The Daily Mirror are going to stand firm, I've got no doubt about that. Everything that was on there, we stand by.
Yeah, this afternoon, everybody, we're outside the Home Office in London, protesting for animals' rights and to close down MBR Acres, Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire, a beagle puppy farm, where they're to be sent off to toxicology labs for experimentation. Please like, share, give the thumbs up, show support. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. All welcome, thank you. We need to get the word out there on behalf of Camp Beagle.
Kill the dogs. Really? So at the end of these experiments, when you poison them to death slowly, you don't kill them? Well, all the evidence from every undercover operation, bar none, shows exactly that's what does happen. And if you're going to remove all the vital organs from a dog that's been poisoned to death, how do you do that without killing it first? Utter bullshit. Utter bullshit. Not dog shit as they're trying to claim. Bullshit. Right? Liars. But that's why we've come here today. You know, we keep repeating this. But LabCorp at Harrogate, where that footage was from, are licensed by the Home Office. The researchers that killed those dogs, licensed by the Home Office. It all comes back to this. Always has done, always will done. You know, we keep repeating this. The campaign MBR is the face of it, and the pressure has to be kept on. But ultimately, these lot here could stop it immediately, with no hassle at all. And for Priti Patel to go on the record and say, she did a couple of months ago, after allegedly watching the initial MBR expose, she said she was shocked by what she saw, and we must phase out animal experiments in the UK. Well, I don't like the word phase out, because I've heard it 40 years ago and I've heard it every decade since. I don't trust it. What I want to hear from Priti Patel and the Home Office, we will end the animal experiments, we will stop the dog experiments, nothing else will satisfy us, nothing else can satisfy the campaign. The Camp Beagle must remain there, and you'll also be aware that at the moment we're about to be dragged into the High Court to face a High Court injunction to stop the protest. Now, I've been here before with Oxford University, I know what injunctions are. They are ways and means by which powerful companies and individuals silence protests. But the law already exists. The police have already arrested people at Camp Beagle. So why the injunction? Why the need to use this massive sledgehammer to crash what is at the end of the day an irritant? That's what protest is. It's an irritant. It's meant to be an irritant. How else do you get anyone else to listen? Do you think the suffragettes would have stood there today and thought, oh, do you know what, we better stop? They're going to take us to court for injunction. They'd have said, no, we fight on, because what we're fighting for is right. What you're fighting for is right. You're backed up, not only by the moral majority, but by science, right? We have to kick root science up the arse. For too long, they've got away with this cosy idea, well, because we've always used animals as surrogate humans, we'll carry on doing it. No, you won't. No, you won't carry on doing it. Because morally, it's repugnant. And scientifically, it's busted. What the hell are you playing at? This is the 21st century, for Christ's sake. What other branch of science says, oh, do you know what? We'll carry on doing what we're doing. I tell you, we won't invent the telephone. We'll just keep a couple of bank meetings into some string and talk to each other like that. You advance. You move on. Long gone are the days when anyone could justify cutting up an animal or causing it to suffer in the name of scientific knowledge. It's just inexcusable. We live in an age of computer modelling. We live in an age of microfluidic technology. We can mimic human organs on microchips. We can use those microchips to test the toxicity of a substance and gain results that are applicable to you and me, human beings. Not beagle dogs, monkeys, mice or rats. They are not test tubes with fur and paws. They are different. They are fundamentally different. Even primates, who we share 98% of our DNA with, are different when it comes to extrapolating the results to humans. Oxford University famously told us when we campaigned against the laboratory that primates were essential for looking in to Parkinson's disease. But then they themselves admitted that what they actually do is try and recreate Parkinson-type symptoms in monkeys by chemically destroying parts of their brain. That in no way bears any real resemblance to the disease progression in humans. And yet, these animals continue to pay with their lives and with misery. And human beings are also paying by delayed scientific discoveries, by delayed medications and treatments. That is unacceptable. That is totally and utterly unacceptable, and we should not stand for it. We demand change. We demand it now. And the MBR Beagles are the symbols of that change. The time has come. The time really has come. I've been here many times before, over 40 years of doing this, and I'm not waiting any longer. The time is now. The public have woken up. The MBR Beagles, with their cries and their barking, have echoed around this country into the living rooms, the iPhones, the computers of people who never even realised that this was going on. Well, now they do. The genie is out of the bottle. It's not going back. We demand an end to this barbaric, outdated practice. We demand the freedom of the MBR Beagles, and we want sanity, for Christ's sake. We want sanity in research. We want sanity and proper ethics in our treatment of other animals. Nothing else is acceptable. Nothing. Right, I was just going to say, we should allow other people to talk, and we've just got our first one. What's your name, mate? Sammy. Sammy wants to come up and talk, so let's see what you've got to say, mate. Anybody else who feels they've got something to say, you're perfectly free to come up and talk about it. It's your campaign, so take it away, Sammy.
Okay. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Who here is angry?
Yes! I said, who here is angry?
Yes!
I want all of you guys to raise your signs. Raise your signs high. High and proud. You know why? Because me. I used to have a dog as well. And it got brutally nil-lased. And brutally debated. You know why? Because they thought I was sick in the head. But I'm not. You know why? Because people on TikTok... Oh my gosh. The nerves are kicking in about the MBR Eagles. You know, I want the Eagles to be free. Fly high and proud. Higher than any other aeroplane here. Okay? So you know what I say to the people killing the elephants? I say they can piss off. Yeah? I can say they can go away. You know why? Because I've been hurt as well. I used to have a dog that I used to love and cherish. And we had sexual intimacy. And you know what happened? We've been discussing.
Is this not? No. Is this not here? Is this
What the fuck was that?
Sorry about that, folks. Somebody there's off.
Ian McGill?
Okay. Apologies for that. You can't always predict these things. But anyway, we've got someone else now who really important. Really important to listen to this. Can you please be quiet? This is really important. One eye to Ian McGill, veterinary surgeon. Please listen. This is very important. So hand you over to Ian.
Hello everyone. Thanks very much for coming today. It's really important to to defend against this. I mean, this is disgusting. I mean, they thought they'd get away with this in the quiet, and it's been the media spotlight has been brought on it, and the media spotlight's really important. And we'll come to this. So this department here, I'm not sure this is the right department to be handling this. This department handles criminal matters. Now maybe you might argue it is the right department because there's criminal things going on here with these beagles that are legalised. They're legalising. But I still counter that it might be the wrong department. And we'll come to that. So myself and Dominic, we've been involved with a couple of high profile things recently. So the first one was Geronimo. Geronimo the alpaca that you may be aware of, who was effectively captured and executed in broad daylight. And then we took the media from that and we span it onto Nowzad. I don't know if you heard of Nowzad. They were Penn Farthing, very brave man. Me and Dom worked really hard on that. I went out there and got the animals and brought them back. And what's surprising is that we got all the departments on board, all of the departments of government. And do you know what? Priti Patel supported us. That's the surprising thing, isn't it? Priti Patel supported us. So, the first department to come on board was DEFRA. Me and Dom bang our heads against the brick wall against DEFRA all the time. So, another key element of this is the veterinary profession. Now, I'm a veterinary surgeon. 99% of all vets want to protect animals. But the vet profession is a really important one to lobby here, because every time something like this happens, or live exports, the veterinary profession has to sign off on that. And most vets don't want to do that. The vets that went in to seize Geronimo in broad daylight, they didn't want to do that. I mean, assuming there were vets involved with that. They were ordered by their people above. Now, the people we had help from DEFRA over Nowzad. Whilst DEFRA were helping us, the good side of DEFRA, we look at DEFRA like a two-headed hydra. There's nice DEFRA who want to go in, they want to support us with animals, and they gave us loads and loads of help, DEFRA. And we were like, this is weird, DEFRA helping us. Meanwhile, when we were doing that, we took our eye off the ball with Geronimo. I'd been down at the farm with Helen protecting him. Came back to London working on Nowzad. I mean, it's, there's people involved, there's loads of children involved, so we were doing that. Whilst that happened, oh hello, here they come. While that happened, the psychopathic wing of DEFRA, the large animal side, went behind our backs, and they executed Geronimo in the high, in the whole media. It was the biggest, most famous animal that's ever lived, and they did that, and they thought that was normal. The psychopathic wing of DEFRA thought that was normal. Do we think it's normal?
No!
Okay. Do we think these beagles being tortured is normal?
No!
Okay. So it's very important to lobby the vet profession, and the vet profession wants to do the right thing. At the moment, it's handled by this department. This department handles criminals. Okay, fair enough. So that's another thing that's really important is dogs are our ambassadors, the animal protection movement. Dogs go right into our hearts. People understand dogs. What we got, the support we got over Nowzad wasn't from the left. Well, you might think, well, that's going to be The Guardian. The Guardian didn't do anything. It was the right-wing press. It was the Sun. It was the Daily Express. It was the Mail. It was the Telegraph. Yes, it was the Independent and the Mirror, and they gave us great support. But love for dogs goes across the political spectrum. People get it. They're in their hearts. They've met a dog they loved. Dogs are our ambassadors. As it turned out, so are alpacas. And that's a new thing. That's a new thing. So DEFRA, the two-headed hydra of DEFRA. What I'd like to do, I'd like to see the licensing of experiments. Well, I'd like to see them banned. But the licensing of experiments doesn't They don't know anything about animals here. It needs to be passed over to DEFRA, to the good head of DEFRA. Now what I'd like to see DEFRA destroyed. I'd like to see the good head of DEFRA take that over and that department to be called something else. This is the Home Office, the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. There's something about being called an office that means you're a great Department of State. And I think DEFRA should be one, but not DEFRA as it is. We need to lop off the psychopathic wing of DEFRA, because those people at the top, they're all about money and they're psychopaths. And I've said that before, I don't care what anyone says, those people are psychopaths and they belong in jail. They belong in jail for the Badger cult, they belong in jail for Geronimo, they belong in jail for all they do, you know, all this cow killing. It doesn't solve the problem with TB. I don't want to go on about that, but it's 100 million quid of your money being wasted on killing cows and maintaining this TB epidemic. 100 million quid, billion quid over the last 10 years, utter disgrace. And that's the psychopaths at DEFRA, not the good people at DEFRA. So I'd like this to be transferred to the good people at APHA and DEFRA who care about animals. I'd like that department to be called the Environmental, Food and Animal Protection Office and be a much bigger department, as powerful as this lot, as powerful as the Treasury, as powerful as the Foreign Office. So that would be FAPO. I like that partly because it sounds like a guerrilla movement from Angola, but I also think it's a bit more snappy than DEFRA. So what I'd say is, to stop this, we need to get the veterinary profession on board. We need to get the veterinary profession on board to support this. And if it doesn't, if it can't be persuaded, we need the veterinary profession to be involved in civil disobedience. Now that's unusual. You could say I'm being civilly disobedient here. I hope I'm being civil. And you know, we need that to happen. We need to get the veterinary profession on board to stop that, because somebody signs off on this, and I bet they don't want to. And anytime they want to come out here and say, I don't support this anymore, I'm withdrawing my support, or you know, any matter that the veterinary profession, whether that's live experts or whatever. So watch this space. You're doing a brilliant job. Keep it up. And let's save those beagles and let's stop animal experimentation, period. They're our ambassadors. Dogs are our ambassadors, and so are alpacas, and so are you lot. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
Is anybody else who wants to come and say, anyone who's coming from Camp Beagle today want to say anything? And then we've got Mikey who's coming from Camp Beagle.
I'm not going to get upset. Yesterday was truly horrific, but we're all here today to fight for the Beagles. And let's make it very clear, we're not going anywhere. Excuse my voice. They can throw anything at us. We are not giving up until those Beagles are free and this disgusting, filthy hellhole is closed down. No one is going to stand in our way. We will get this place shut down, but we need more of you to get on board with this campaign. We need more animal rights activists to get off their backsides and get fighting for these Beagles. We really do. More people power, please. So do not give up on these Beagles, and we will close this disgusting hellhole down. And fuck the police, and fuck MBR. We are not going to stop.
Yeah, I think I was fairly clear, wasn't it? Anybody else here wants to, because remember, like, the reason we're inviting people up is that it's already been said by Dominic, myself, and probably most of the people who speak, that the way we win these things is by individuals like you coming together under a banner, the banner of Free the MBR Beagles. So it is about each individual. You know, there's a lot of talk these days, especially social media, about talking heads and influencers and that. I don't believe that. What I believe is that grassroots activism comes from the quiet people. It often comes from the very quiet people who just get on with it. And, you know, it's a shame we don't hear more from those people, because they are the backbone of this movement. Always have been, always will be. There wouldn't be one without them. And, you know, I said to you earlier today, you know, I got hurt last week by some Hunt supporters, and I ended up in hospital. And, you know, the only thing I could think about while I was lying there was, well, how quick can I get up and get out again? I'm missing the MBR Beagles campaign. I'm lying on, how quick can I get back? But above all else, I said to you earlier that all our sufferings, whether they might be physical, mental, and they are, we do all suffer in some way because of this. Right now there's a little beagle dog sat in a cage inside Harrogate LabCorp or Huntingdon LabCorp, probably wondering what's going to happen. And that little dog a few days before would have been inside MBR Acres, and you've seen the footage, you've seen them recently in their pens, and what is so tragic about this, so utterly tragic, is that the reason beagles are used, and you can read any scientific journal. I was reading another one on the way here. The beagles are used because they are malleable. In other words, they trust us. Dominic spoke about that earlier, about the relationship between human beings and dogs, and that's what that relationship's built on, right? It's built on a mutual trust. You've all got dogs, you all have rescue dogs, all of us have come into contact with them. And what is the one thing you all learn about those dogs? When you walk through the door at night, no matter if you've had a bad day at work, you've had an argument, you're not feeling too well, what does your dog do? Wags its tail, comes up, gives you a kiss, and you think it's all right. And that's what those dogs do. They understand us. When they interact with those staff at MBR and they're taught to raise their paw or present their face for a gas mask, what that dog's thinking is, I'm making this person feel happy. I'm doing what I'm building my relationship with this person like your dog does at home. That's what they're doing. But think of it. Within a few days or weeks, that little puppy will be sitting inside a pen at LabCorp, and somebody else will come in, and that dog will be thinking again, oh, this person's come to interact with me, throw a ball maybe, play with me like they did. But no, that person's come to poison you. Has come to poison you to death. Now, I don't know about you, I can't imagine a worse betrayal. I really can't. It's about as low as it gets. I just can't think of all the things that anyone's ever done to you. Can you think of anything worse than being continually reassured by one person? All the time, that person knowing that what they're reassuring you for is to be tortured to death. I don't think it gets any worse. I really don't. And if we are a nation of animal lovers, if we are, and we're going to live up to that, then MBR can't exist. How can it? How can something like MBR and LabCorp and other vivisection laboratories, how do they exist in a country where we profess to love and care for animals? But, as you've already heard Dominic, and you've already heard others saying, I'm going to repeat it again. The Animal Welfare Act, that if you did to your dog what LabCorp will do to those beagles, you will get 5 years in prison. Now that's not long enough in my book. You should get 5 plus a naught. But you still would get put in prison, except if you're a martial beagle. And those laws do not apply. And do you know why they don't apply? Because your suffering will be deemed necessary. If you were to poison your dog at home, that's unnecessary suffering. If you do it as part of a contract testing laboratory or a university or a government department, it's then deemed necessary suffering. What's the difference? What is the difference? There is no difference. Pain is pain, suffering is suffering. The only difference is it's sanctioned by the law, and that is the only difference. There is no other. But that law is wrong. It always has been wrong, and that is why this campaign is so vital. That is why the MBR Beagles are such a totem for everything that happens. We must not let those dogs down. They represent all animals that are suffering in laboratories, millions of them in this country and across the world. Millions and millions of them. And surely, as human beings, if you believe in moral progress and moral evolution, it is totally unacceptable that these animals are still suffering in the name of a science that no longer has any justification. We must demand that this government bring an end to this now. And we must become active to the point where they are forced to do it. They are forced to act. The moral majority is on your side. Science is on your side. There is nothing now between us and victory other than the will to see this through. And I believe we've all got that will. Yes? Yes! Good. Thank you. Anyway, does anybody else want to add anything? No, I haven't got someone here. This is Doug.
Hi. Wasn't really expecting to come here and say anything today. About 26 years ago, I turned vegan because of vivisection and what I was seeing in the labs back then through stuff like that BUAV and others were exposing is still going on, and it sickens me. What else I've seen though over that time is how many platitudes we're given to silence us and make us go away and think everything's changing. I remember I worked in Parliament from 1997 to 2005, and I remember seeing bills in Europe as well about ending vivisection and how things were going to change, and the names of organisations changing in order for them to make us think they'd gone away. I worked for Labour MPs who had connections with HLS, and so did their spouses, and it sickened me, and it eventually got me out of politics because I just couldn't sit in all conscience working with the people who were doing the very things that made me feel sick. So just be aware that they will try different techniques to get us to go away and to silence us, to make us think they've changed when they actually haven't. We'll hear platitudes from Priti Patel, but also from the other side as well. Just be aware of that and be conscious that these companies will just change where they operate, their names. Politicians will tell us they're doing things. Just keep them real, keep pressuring them, and direct action is the only effective way to make these people change. If you look back at successful change in history, it's always been direct action, not silent pressure that's worked. So please, if you can, get up to Camp Beagle. I hold my hand up. I've not been there yet. It's very difficult for a lot of us. I understand that when we don't drive and we have full-time jobs to get there. But if and when you can, get there, because they need people on the ground to stop through direct action what's happening to these beagles, as Mel said, right now, today, not in the future. It's happening now. We need to do something to stop it and hold these people accountable for what they're trying to tell us.
One final thing, which I say a lot at the moment, I'm going to say it again. People say to me, what is animal rights? Why is it so important to you? And I say, to me now, in my life, at 51 years of age, seeing what damage and destruction we've done to this world and what suffering we brought to animals in that period of time, this battle is every bit as important as the battle against slavery, the battle for universal suffrage, and the battle for civil rights. Okay? And I know Peter Egan was here today, and he rang me last night and said he couldn't, he's got lots of things going on, so he's really apologetic. But you know he's a wonderful man as well. He would say exactly the same words to you. And we've talked a lot about that over the years, and it's really resonated with me. And I recently did a debate with The Spectator that you can see online, some of you will see, when they put a front page story in The Spectator magazine.
Yeah,
saying
hi,
people
God
like
bless
me
the
and
UK.
hijack
Thank you for
Parliament
stopping by,
animals.
mate.
And I've said that, and I'll say it again. I'm proud of what
outside
we
the
do
Home
for
Office
animals.
in
But
London,
we'll be judged by our
animal
relationship
rights
with
and
the
to
natural
stop,
world and animals. And I think people
the
will look back in
NBR
100 years
Beagles
and will be horrified
puppy farm
what we've done to animals in testing,
for,
horrified what we've done to animals in
breeding
the farming
puppies,
system,
beagle puppies
horrified
for
about the sort of slaughter
experimentation.
that I'm fighting against in the Faroe Islands at the moment, where thousands of dolphins and thousands of pilot whales are being killed for so-called culture, which is nothing more than cruel barbarity. So what we need to do is keep focused on that, stand proud, and keep saying to people that I'll be judged by my relationship with the natural world and animals, but you will be judged by it too. And as time goes on, I hope we'll look back with horror, and we will be better people because of the way we treat animals. They are so trusting, they bring us so much love, and we owe it them back as well. So keep fighting. Thank you so much.
Well, instead of testing on animals,
So I was going to say two
and
things.
unnecessary
Tom's just said the
humans,
first one
I
about
do believe
universal
that
suffrage and slavery.
paedophiles should be
One
rounded
thing's
up and
really
experimented
important
on.
is that legality is a movable feast. It was once legal to own a slave. Tories stood up in the House and said, "Oh, the British Empire will collapse if we don't have slavery." Well, it did collapse, and that wasn't such a bad thing. It used to be legal to own a wife. You could own a wife. It used to be legal to not allow women to have a vote, and it used to be legal to discriminate, whenever you wanted against people of different colour or different creeds. That's not legal anymore. There's laws against it. This will be illegal, and we'll look back and go, we lived in the dark ages, as Dom said. So we've got to keep fighting. This will change. There's now a movement. People are criticising me and Dom for having too much influence. Well, it's been a long time coming. This animal protection movement can now move mountains. We get together. We've got some strong allies going on here. We've got Helen MacDonald. We've got Penn Farthing. We've got people in the House of Parliament who are working directly with us. We can move mountains with this. We did over now.
Yeah, please like, share, everybody.
But those stories are still running, so watch this space.
Give
We
the
can
thumbs up,
change
show
things, and this
support.
will become illegal.
If you're new
Promise
to my
you that.
channel,
This will
please
become illegal.
subscribe.
Let's hope
More
it's
the
so.
merrier. All
Thanks very much.
welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else want to say anything anymore? I think one of the things that's coming out of this, and it's the thing that's made, I think, this campaign quite unique, is I'm an animal rights activist. Always have been, always will be. But the thing I'm learning is that what's happened with the NBR Beagle campaign is animal rights activists are now rubbing shoulders with other people who had never thought about it. You go to Camp Beagle now, you'll find people from the local village, the Women's Institute, I don't know, you name it, they're all there. The dog lovers, the vegans, the animal rights activists, to those who never thought about it, have all suddenly found themselves standing together for a dog. What does that tell you? If you don't think it's important, how come a bunch of dogs in a factory in Cambridgeshire have drawn all these people together? Why is that? Strange, isn't it? Dogs, a group of beagle dogs, has come along and done something that most of us in our factional movement often find difficult to do. But the Beagles have bloody done it. They brought us together. They brought us together to win for them. How amazing is that? Right, we've got somebody else now. We've got Vanessa from the Animal Welfare Party who's got a few words to say to you.
Hi, well, I don't have a speech prepared, so I'm sorry, this is just off the top of my head. Seeing everybody here, I just actually wanted to say how amazingly impressed I was when I came down to Camp Beagle in, I think it was late July, early August. I came with my little one during the school holidays. And, I've been thinking most of my adult life about animal rights, about how to improve things for animals, and yet I'd never had the idea of camping by the side of the road next to a facility that breeds beagles. And I was just so impressed and amazed by the people doing that. I don't, if I would have had it in me to bring my tent and camp there by the side of the road with the cars going past your head during the night. Yes, is that you doing that? Yes, amazing. I'm just full of awe for what you've done and what you've achieved. And obviously not just doing that physically on the ground, but the amount of media coverage that you've managed to generate for this, the kind of how you've managed to pique people's interest, people who might not naturally be people who spend much time thinking about animal rights, but they've seen what you've put out there, is connected with them, and they're appalled. Because obviously they're appalled because, as most of us here would agree, in a civilized society there is no place for testing on animals, any animals. I know here today we're talking about beagles, but obviously We are also talking about all animals. In a civilized society in the year 2021, we cannot be testing on animals. And for a long time, our party, but I'm not particularly here to talk about my party, but for a long time we've called for there to be binding targets for reduction on animal testing. And obviously the other thing we need to do as we do that is we need to fund and properly support the development of non-animal methods. And that is the part that has always been missing. And if there's something that anyone in this building takes today away from this, is that we cannot ignore this movement anymore. We cannot ignore this call. We must move now to research and testing that it uses non-animal methods. And there are gradual gains every year around the world. We must take heart from that. And as Ian said, I do firmly believe, I know this, that one day we will live in a world where animal testing is illegal. I know that day will come, and thank you, each and every one of you, for playing a part in making that happen. Thank you.
Any more? Any more? Anybody else want to come up and say anything? Of course, I'd politely invite someone from the Home Office to come out, but I suspect he'll be met with a big fat nothing like it was last time. But I will ask, is there anyone in that building who's prepared to come out and address these good people here about what's happening to the NBR Beagles? Is there anyone?
Come on out!
Come on out! Come on! Anyone?
More chance of getting Lord Lucan to
I don't think you're going to get many votes from the people out here at the next election, but then that never seems to bother you anyway, does it? So I'm going to take it from that, then you're going to stay silent again. Well, don't worry about that, we expected that, but rest assured, we're not going to stay silent. That's something that's not going to happen. So, you know, I'm going to do one more call out if anybody else wants to come up. We've got someone, thank you very much.
I'm 62 now, and when I was growing up, people used to smoke ubiquitously, everywhere. Everywhere you went, people were smoking. On the bus, going to work, everywhere, in work. You can't believe the places that people would smoke publicly. I started when I was 8 years old. I gave up when I was 13, and I gave up again when I was 19. And when I became vegan, I definitely would not have smoked, because that would have brought me to the point where I would have been involved in animal experimentation. Maybe historical, but that time when I was growing up at 8 years old, that's when they were experimenting on beagles and making them smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke until they died. Now, why would they do that? To prove that people didn't get cancer from smoking? How stupid they think we are. How stupid are we that we will believe that? And this is the problem. The majority of people are that stupid that they won't think what's happening to those beagles could happen to them. Because if they can do that to loving, malleable beagles, what can they do to stupid people? And when they come for the stupid people, who will be there to defend them? People like us.
I don't know if top man, if there's any stupid people out here you're willing to have a go. I know there's plenty of stupid people in the building behind us, so they can come out and have a go if they want, but I suspect again that's not going to happen.
All in there, they're all in there.
Anybody else? You're going to have difficulty following that last one, but... Okay, here we go.
Five weeks ago, I didn't know anything about Camp Beagle. This sort of activism was so far out of my comfort zone, it might have been on the moon. But I happened to sit next to somebody at Vegan Camp Out. She gave me a leaflet and said, "Have you heard about the Beagles?" I went home, had a look, looked up the website, looked up the Facebook page. Since then, I have now been on, I spent 5 days at camp. The cries of those poor little mites are just horrendous and was something that's going to stay with me forever, I think. We've now got a group of us together. We've got an impromptu outreach thing on Sunday at a local vegan cafe. They're doing a dog cafe, so I thought, right, brilliant, we'll get in there. We got a Southampton vegan, outreach on 16th of October. So if anybody's in Southampton, then come along and see us. We're outside West Quay. There's no excuse. I went from Southampton to Huntington on a bus, on a train, on the tube, on another train, and on another bus to spend 5 days there. And I think everybody should be there, and I'm doing everything that I can now to make everybody aware of what's going on.
Right, anybody else? You might as well keep it going. I'm not going to go until everyone's had a talk, so it could be for quite a while.
Hello everyone. Just want to introduce myself. My name's Ian. I was here at the last one. I'm really disappointed by the turnout, but the fact that everybody has attended here is so encouraging. I mean, I want to see the streets absolutely blocked left and right with people singing and chanting and putting pressure on the Home Office, okay, to effect change. Now, I want to be quite brief rather than talk at length, but I won't break any confidences here, but there's been a lot of work going on in the background by very quiet members of Camp Beagle and who support Free the MBR Beagles. I don't want to break any confidences, but Camp has the highest level of representation possible that you wouldn't imagine that we're going to have at the injunction hearing. And that's because of there's people from different classes, different backgrounds who are uniting in the name of beagles and anti-animal vivisection. Okay, so as much as possible, I see my role as doing what I can to support the people on the ground at camp. I've been to camp a couple of times. I've stayed over in a van, and it was horrific, sitting by the side of the road. Okay, sleeping by the side of the road, just for one night. And I can't tell you the sacrifices that the permanent members of camp are making. And I see it as our role to support them in whatever we can by educating, by sharing the message and making people know what's going on at camp. Dog walks, friends, Facebook posts, okay? We all need to support the people who are there 24/7, however we can. Thank you.
Yeah, I've got Helen now.
Just briefly, another ultimate act of betrayal for these poor puppies is that these dogs, these beagles, are chosen for these terrible toxicological tests, poisoning, agony for them, because they have very sensitive digestive tracts. Now that, to me, is another ultimate act of betrayal. Chosen because they're going to suffer more with all the caustic things that are poured into them.
Right, any more? Anybody else got anything they want to add to this? Come on, you're here. We're all here for those dogs. You know, it's right that everyone, if you've got something to say, comes in and says, don't be afraid to say what you feel about this. Don't be afraid to express yourself. You know, it's important. It's important to us all that we hear what everyone's got to say. And with that,
oh, hello. I won't be long. I'll just end up taking note of myself. But what was it Helen just said there about toxicology?
Can't hear you.
What they just said there about toxic kind of studies that we're doing on these dogs. We mentioned earlier about studies being done that's shown that it just doesn't equate to human beings. Was it 90% of the study was quoted earlier?
It's over now.
Yeah, thank you for joining me this afternoon, everybody. We're outside the Home Office in London.
Anyone that knows dogs,
Animal rights campaigning against
loads of things are toxic to dogs.
animal experimentation and vivisection, etc. Especially
coffee drinkers are using.
against the MBR Beagles. MBR Acres is a place in Huntingdon.
And they're perfectly fine for us. We're just not the same, and it's time for them to realise that.
It breeds puppies to be sent to toxicology labs for experimentation.
It's a very, very
Please
good
like,
point.
share, give the thumbs up, show support today.
They are not the same as us.
And
When it
if you're new
comes
to my channel, please
to their
subscribe. Thank you.
reactions to foods and drug stuff, they are not the same. They are not human beings with paws. They are different. And that's vital in this fight. Anybody else? Yeah, we do have another taker. Boy, you Beagles have got some good friends here today.
It doesn't take a genius to know that each individual, we've got a different DNA. An animal got a different DNA. So they will always find any excuses to kill animals. So in that part, it's all about making money. They don't care about people, they don't care about animals. They just care about money. The pharmaceutical companies want you to be sick because they want to sell medication. So, and they feed you with sick animals from factory farming. So it's a vicious circle. And there is no place for that in a modern and civilized society. And the EU just says that they're going to phase out vivisection, so the UK should follow suit. So, I mean, they will always find excuses because there are a bunch of psychopaths who love and enjoy torturing animals. The hunter will tell you all these stupid excuses about conservation and stuff like that. Nature's got the predator and everything is in place. We need to stop interfering with animals. Animals belong to the forest. It's not our habitat. If somebody comes,
Yeah, I
inside
totally
your
agree.
house,
Stop breeding
robbing
politicians.
You, that's violation of your private life. And it's the same when we go and enter the forest to kill those poor animals. That's a harm, and we have to respect it because we are destroying everything and we don't respect the boundaries. So we need to learn our boundaries, and we need to be smarter than that because by 2021 we should be able to cohabit, to learn how to cohabit with all animals around us. Because if we don't do that, it's going to be the end of human life, human species, because human race is going to disappear because he will be. He failed to understand that animals have the right to live like us in this planet, and he failed to understand how to coexist with them. So I don't call that being very smart at all. That's it.
And again. Hi, I'm going to keep this very, very brief. My name's Charlie. I set up Off-Leash podcasts with Dominic a couple of months ago. We're not quite the BBC or the ITV yet. It's much better than that. But we will talk to anybody from the camp who would like to record an interview with us or a podcast with us. I hope everybody I'm recording today doesn't mind. I would prefer not to be on these podcasts. Please do let me know. But we just want this whole podcast to be a service for wildlife, for animal welfare, for animal rights. So if we can help in any way, we're on OTL Podcast on Twitter. There's no charge, there's no subscription. We're not doing this for the money, we're just doing it for the animals. So if we can help, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Anybody else who wants to...
everyone in with the posters and the placards and get a picture of everyone with the string.
Is there anybody else here who wants to say a few words? Is that it? Okay.
Hey Mel, can I just say one thing?
Yeah, okay, we do have somebody else.
Yeah, so it's going to take... Huh? No, I'll just use...
Hey, everybody. Okay, I can speak now. I'd just like to mention what we did in the old days. I don't know if anyone can remember Paul Grove Landmark, but they bred beagles where they represent 54%. Does anyone remember that? There we go. Some old timers. What we did there, we did night fixing. Not much, might be a good idea. Anyone think it's a good idea where we rock up there to about 11 o'clock at night? Yeah! How about that? 11 o'clock at night? Have a nice fire going in the winter night coming ahead.
The police have taken all the love.
Well, we'll find something, don't we? And we'll bring our own. It might be an idea. Just put it out there, really. That's it, really. That's all I want to say. And just, anyway, we have to close that shop. Took 2.5 years, but we got there.
Actually, that's a good point. I would say to everyone that NBR Beagle, this struggle to close it down, actually has historical roots as well. I don't know if anyone here remembers consort beagles in Herefordshire. Yeah? Well, during the early 90s, there was a beagle breeders just like NBR in the Herefordshire countryside, and there was a sustained campaign against that by the animal rights movement, and they were successfully closed down. They were forced to close by a movement like this that was determined to do so, to free those dogs. I would say what's about to happen with NBR will be even more significant, because whilst consort shut down, the trade didn't. I say this time, when NBR goes, the trade goes. The dog trade finishes as the first step to an end to animal experiment. And I think, and I probably won't be around when this happens, but I think this will be looked back on, this moment will be looked back on as a moment when everything changed. Now, I've thought that before in my 40 years as a campaigner, but now I'm convinced this is a moment. And when people look back, what they'll remember about this is this country coming together, the animal rights people, the dog lovers and everyone else. But most of all, they'll look back and they'll think, do you know what changed everything? It was those little four-legged, floppy-eared dogs that changed everything. You know what? And I think that's the way it should be. I think it's the way it should be. They'll remember the campaigns and everything else, but I hope, like they did back in 1904 when they put the little brown dog statue in Latchmere Park to commemorate the little brown terrier that was so brutally vivisected in front of a live audience. I hope that a similar statue will stand along the B1090 Sortshire Road in Huntingdonshire as the moment in 2021 when vivisection finally breathed its last breath. Let's make it happen, people. Let's make it happen. Now I've called out to anybody else. My ribs are killing me. I've got to have a rest.
We're having a march now. We're having a march.
I've been at Camp Beagle now for 6 weeks, and it's very hard. It's cold at night when you're sleeping, but the atmosphere there with all the protesters is absolutely amazing. Everybody loves everybody, and everybody is friends, and it is so supportive of each other. It's unbelievable. The one thing we are all there for is these little chaps. And 2 days ago, 2 vans came to Huntingdon and took 2 loads of puppies away. 16 weeks old, and we could hear them in the vans. There were about 14 of us and about 50 police. We were completely overrun. They were like, the police were like NBR's private security. It was horrible.
We're paying for that.
Yeah, the taxpayer is paying for that. Yeah. So if anybody is here who can get to Camp Beagle at any time at all, please come. If you can camp, that's even better. You'll be well supported, you don't need anything, just come.
Thank you.
We just get a few placards and you get to get some nice pictures on social media. We just get everyone lined up here and stuff. We just get
the placards in. Let's just show people that we're all here. Hold them up.
Will you hold
Oh, sorry.
Anyone going to get any pictures?
Yeah,
Social media?
I'm getting loads.
Ian, do you want to come up from here a bit?
Get that one right out.
Get Cindy in here. Cindy, Charlie, you want to come in or are you going to get something around? It's upside down. It's upside down. It's upside down. This one's upside down. Someone's up. You want it upside down?
It's a nice one of your step up.
Over your side, is it?
Yeah, bedstead as well. You see those queues outside?
This one, how many you want that big one there? Huge card.
Are they really doing that again? I thought that had died off doing all that shit. When I had a look at it's not amazing because they've broken the queue up in Regent Street. Covent Garden's not queues up. Yeah. They got their own little bit, haven't they? So.
Actually, when the first ones come out, they used to queue along. They got last trains and shit to do it.
Stars of the show.
Cindy.
I got one of that.
Cindy. Cindy.
Camera shy. Hello. Hello. That's brilliant, that. Yeah. You know, my dog's always the same. He's laying there and I think, oh, beautiful picture. The minute I get the camera or try to video him, he turns away every time. Yeah. Hello. He's a little poser.
Just mixing them up.
Cindy, 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 over here. Cindy, what's this? Cindy. I've got a load. What's a bit
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? We are going to be going to a march to Parliament Square, so please come and join us and make some noise for the Beagles. So a march to Parliament Square, if you can, please come and join us.
Sorry, can I just get a photo?
Now, if you know, yeah, march to Parliament Square.
Sorry, skip.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're friends on Facebook. You know what it is? You've got. I'm Mary. Well, I'm Mary.
I know your face. I know. I was thinking, I know. Remind me of your name.
Well, it's when you haven't met someone and you're going on a picture that you're seeing in a little thumbnail. I have seen you keep coming up in my suggestions, actually. You know, you get suggested friends, yeah. Tanya Love. Yeah.
My phone's in my bag over there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, it's just trains.
Yeah, thank you for joining me this afternoon, everybody. We're outside the Home Office in London with animal rights campaigners. We're here against MBR Acres, which is a beagle puppy breeding facility in Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire, where at 14 weeks old they send out thousands of puppies to various toxicology labs for experimentation around the country. So if you can please like, share, show us the thumbs up and get the footage out there. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, or please tune in and support MBR Acres, MBR Camp, and also I will be at the camp tomorrow So stay tuned for more footage there. Thank you.
We've got some good photos there.
What I do is a lot of the sun's in my face. It's a bit difficult to see, but I can see what I've got. Sod's Law last night, Facebook blocked me for a month because of, I said with one of your posts, I said about Priti Patel should be hung for this sort of thing or something or other, like, you know, yeah. Well, Facebook send it as inciting violence or something like that, inciting violence. So they put me on I've got another Facebook, which I use for business, but I can join the groups and whatever on that, and because I will be putting photos on.
See the photos.
Right.
Because I didn't get to take it.
1 minute. Because I'm still filming live on that. Just trying to think. I don't know if I've got it. I'm just trying. Have you got WhatsApp? If somehow I can take your number, and then I'll like obviously like a bit later on I'll do it.
What about your debut marathon? What favourite date you like? Like very.
If you've seen their reference, why the reference?
Right. Sorry. First of all, what's your name?
Cheryl. CHERYL.
CHER.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to see the bloody keypad on there. Yeah, step over it, love.
Listen, the only person that was ever scared of was Jamie Purser, and he was the terrierman for 2 Essex Hunt. And that's why fucking the damage you've done to Sam. If you ever look online,
I'll try again.
When they used the first time they used the pillow camera, it's on the television. It was called Jamie Purser. And he got away, but he's broke the fucking metal rod on someone's wrist.
I've just put it for short for now, like, you know, I know what your name is, but because we're live, so whisper, hang on a minute.
He got away, honestly, he was scared. He was fucking scared. Yeah, he weren't just, he fucking, I hate him. When they bought bearing rods, the vehicle when I was in it, from 2 different angles.
0777.
I bet you're in the back.
So 037.
Oh, hang on a minute.
If I was in the back, I'd be holding on. Right? I was on my own when I was with the big drop the shades here. You've got to hold it just in case something happens. There's nothing. 2 days ago, I started.
Sorry.
I was on my quad. They had a reputation. They're really nice. They're nice.
Yep.
Right. I'll just ring your phone off. Right, my phone. Oh. Oh, sorry, I forgot this one. But my number ends in 005. All right. Like I say, because I've got your number stored on that. I've got your number stored on that. But later on, after the live, I'll put it on there. And then once, because I crop and edit a lot of my photos as well to make sure they're bang on. I am pretty known within the other movements for getting proper footage and everything, you know. As you probably see when I'm on the floor, I like to get away and stuff and all that. But yeah, no.
Okay. And you see, you can see.
Are you on the Beagles group as well?
No, I'm not.
On Facebook or anything?
No, I've only just, do you know what, I only just see it a little while ago on TikTok. I saw it all on TikTok.
That's how I come across this lot. I come across this lot on, I think it was on TikTok, and then I saw something on Facebook. Well, it was on TikTok first, but then I heard about the Facebook group, which I joined.
I follow, I follow it on TikTok, and then I follow it on Facebook.
Camp Beagle on Facebook and that, But like I say, on my one account, like, I only just got barred for a month, like last night, and that. But I've got my other one which I can probably send photos to it and all that. So if you get on the group, everything, you know, video clips as well will all be on there later. On the Facebook group, Camp Beagle one and that. And as well as, like I say, my YouTube channel's called Patriotic Crusader, but I was normally always up here filming on the front line of like the anti-vax COVID demos and all that. There's even been interviews as well, because I usually get that's why everybody rates me for my footage, because I usually get right in there, you know, normally. But I've not been active for about 5 weeks because of work and everything, you know what I mean? And there's been a few disagreements within certain movements, so but this is, although I've
stumbled across it, come up on TikTok, a lot of people don't know.
No, they don't.
And I've told people, they've gone, what? They go, no way. A lot of people's really shocked, they don't know.
I mean, I heard them saying that there wasn't a lot of live footage getting out. Only 1 or 2 of them was going live on Facebook and stuff. You know, they was quite happy for me to come here and film on YouTube, because you get a bigger audience there, you know. So and I will be going to the camp tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to go soon. And my friend's going to come. Like,
Where are you?
I live in Islington.
Oh, you're in Islington? Yeah, I live in Islington, south side, like, you know. But to go up there, it's only like about
train ride, isn't it?
an hour and a half, about an hour and a half, something like that, to drive anyway or whatever. Anyway, my name's Nick anyway.
Nick, okay.
All right. Nice to meet you. What's the dog's name? Hello. That little video, like, I'll try and sort it out later on as well. A little video clip where he comes right up, like with a little bit of attitude, like he'll come right up to the camera.
He's just a bit like that, you know.
As soon as I edit stuff, I'll send you everything later, you know.
Cheers.
You're all right, love. You're right, everybody. As you can see, we're outside the Home Office in London in support of Camp Beagle, which they camp outside MBR Acres, Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire. It's a beagle puppy breeding farm from which they sell and send 14-week-old puppies off to their deaths to various toxicology labs for experimentation, etc. They're force-fed various chemicals. They're forced to breathe in toxic gases. It's unimaginable. And from footage I've heard and seen myself, you hear the dogs crying, yelping, barking all day long. And only yesterday, 3 van loads, I think, were taken out. And there was a big police presence, which probably cost the taxpayer another 50 grand or so. So you had the Gestapo Stasi there protecting these dirty pieces of shite. So much appreciated for those that have joined us this afternoon. As I said, please like, share, give the thumbs up, show the support, and just think, if it was your own dog, how would you feel if it was stolen or it was put through that kind of business? As you can see on these posters here, I mean, look at the poor innocent buggers, yeah? I mean, it's all very well demonstrating for anti-vax and all that rubbish. Yeah, we need to protect our children, but animals are just as important, if not in some cases more. I wish they would stop all experimentation on animals and round up all the paedophiles and put them in experimentation camps.
Bring him to the humble demos and shit like that. Oh, that was incredible. That was pretty much, that's what he told me. Yeah. That's enough. I actually helped the hunters pick that up. Dropped this
Yeah, very shortly, everybody. I think they're due to take a short march off down to Parliament Square.
enjoyable. It's good fun to have a bit of a fight or a wind up or whatever, but it's just not fun when you end up nicked. Although the pints afterwards can be fun. You ever got it? Yeah, love it. That's my favourite hobby. Even when I'm not sad, just going in and be like, you know what I mean? With a HSA t-shirt on. Yeah, I got hold of that very and they've scaled it back. Just to let them know. So like about a week ago, I went out with lunch for a drive with my parents. And so we went out to quite hungry, what we going out drinking, but it's something like something vegan, if not chips or whatever. So we go up to the pub, I look around, I see all the types of people. I go up to the bar staff and say, look, I'm carnivores, not for you. I said, what? Not for you. My dad's not involved in this, he's not even like educated. He goes, why are you fucking serving that fucking kid? And he goes, because he's just sad. My dad goes, he just does, he just loses it. So he picked up the glass and went like, and then starts kicking the chairs. And I'm like, my mum's just there like, and me and my dad are just going mental. So she picks the pub up, and then we have to quickly jump in the motor and leave. My dad's not even into it. He just didn't like the fact that I was being disrespectful.
I'm filming on my live on my YouTube channel, Patriotic Crusade. Normally, and I'm a bit of a veteran of the demonstrations for anti-COVID, anti-vax, all the rest of it. I've usually been pretty much on the front line. I've been certain restaurants, and I'm mostly just filming. But as for the last 5 weeks, I've been out of action. I've been working and stuff. And not that I've always ever got involved in anything to do with animal rights or whatever, but it's always partly been one of my passions because I am a big animal lover. I have a dog and everything, and God forbid, if anything like this happened to him or anything, I'd sort of be beside myself. I think I first come across MER on somebody's video on TikTok. And then I found out about what was it? I think it was the group on Facebook. Camp Eagle, etc. So I looked at that, which I've joined a few groups on Facebook. Only Sod's Law last night Facebook barred me for a month because because I made a comment about Patel should be strung up for longest allowing this to happen. And they said obviously it was inciting violence or something like that. I've got a second Facebook which I can join these groups and put photos and footage through everything later on. But like I say, I've only been following this, it's been about 2 weeks now since I come across it. And I was at work yesterday and I saw the footage, I saw the lives with John, with people being taken with the police there and the vans going in and everything. I was like raging, I was fuming, like, as well as upset because I'm sitting there watching it from afar. I couldn't be there to do anything, but I did say to people that, you know, regardless of whether I was filming or not, if I was there, I would probably end up getting arrested because like, I really can't stand this kind of thing. I even said, you know, about storming the place and taking the animals out, but then where you're going to put them, but it's where you're going to take them, where you're going to put them. Yeah. Oh, I know, I've seen it all, yeah. But it's like, even if you've got all the dogs out there, where are you going to take them? That's the problem. Yeah. Yeah, but it's being able to store them at the time. People.
No, they'll just put quite more security in.
Yeah.
Replace the dogs.
They're moving off anyway. But I said, you know, for what you would get in jail for busting in there and taking dogs out, paedophiles and all that. So yeah, but I will be going up to the camp tomorrow as well because I live in South London. So I'll be driving up to the camp tomorrow as well for a few hours.
Yeah.
So I'll probably see you there. My name's Nick anyway.
Right, Nick.
Yeah.
More coverage, the better.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to get here because I knew there was a lack of live footage going out, and so not too many people are aware. But I thought if I can get it out on my YouTube channel, I've got a bigger audience, I've got a decent following. So as time goes by, gradually more and more people get to know about it, you know. And a lot of my followers have been amazed, like, wow, bloody hell, like, you know, need to do something about it. So the more the merrier, yeah. I have been, yeah. I've been involved in all that. Like I say, I've had more than my fair share of fun with these bastards. We call them, they're not police, they're Stasi Gestapo, that's what we call them. They're just that, they're robots, they're robocops. Yeah. I don't give them a...
Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! It's violence! It's violence! It's violence! It's violence! It's violence! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Priti Patel, shame on you! Priti Patel, shame on you! Priti Patel, shame on you! Priti Patel, go to hell! Priti Patel, go to hell! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Oh! It's violence! It's violence! It's violence! It's violence! Free the MBR Beagles!
In the town of London.
For the animals! 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 For the Beagles! For the Beagles! MBR, shut them down! 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 MBR, shut them down!
MBR, shut them down!
MBR, shut them down! MBR, shut them down! MBR, shut them down! MBR, shut them down! 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 Free the MBR Beagles! 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 Priti Patel, go to hell! 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 Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the MBR Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! For the animals! For the Beagles! For the Beagles! For the animals! For the animals! For the animals! Beagles! Free the NPR 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 Beagles! Free the 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 Beagles! Priti Patel, go to hell! Shame on you! Priti Patel, shame on you! Priti Patel, shame on you! For all the torture and all the pain, Priti Patel, you are to blame! All the torture and all the pain, Priti Patel, you are to blame! All the suffering for financial gain, Priti Patel, you are to blame! All the beagles that die in vain, Priti Patel, you are to blame! All the suffering for financial gain, Priti Patel, you are to blame! All the beagles that die in vain, Priti Patel, you are to blame! All the suffering and all the pain, Priti Patel, you are to blame! Not science! It's violence! Not science! It's violence! Not science! It's violence! Not science! It's violence! Priti Patel, shame on you! Priti Patel, shame on you! Priti Patel, shame on you! Free the NPR Beagles! 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 Shut down NPR! Shut down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Shut down NPR! Shut down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Shut down NPR! Shut down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Shut down NPR! Shut down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Shut down NPR! Shut down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! We want freedom! For the Beagles! We want justice! For the Beagles! Free the NPR 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 Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Free the Beagles! Close down NPR! Close down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Close down NPR! Close down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Close down NPR! Close down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Close down NPR! Close down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! Free the NPR Beagles! Close down NPR! Close down NPR! Free the NPR Beagles! 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 Free the NPR Beagles!
down vivisection! Smash vivisection! Smash vivisection! Smash vivisection! Smash vivisection! Smash vivisection! Smash vivisection! Smash
Yeah, thank you for still sticking with us, everybody. All welcome. It's just important that the footage gets shared out there for this cause, for animal rights. Trying to stop MBR Acres from breeding more beagle puppies for vivisection and experimentation. Please like, share, give the thumbs up, show some support today, please. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Okay, everybody, I'm going to cut the stream now because this is near enough done. I've got other things to move on to. So thank you for joining us today. Please like, share, give the thumbs up, show support. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And please follow me for future news on this. I will be at their camp tomorrow. So thank you very much.